I don't know how to fly, but I will try to save you.
The plane went silent at 30,000 feet. Both pilots collapsed. No warning, no time. Then a teenage girl in row 17 stood up. She walked to the cockpit, took the pilot's seat, her hands shaking. Her heart racing. 203 passengers. One chance she had never flown a jet before. Before you watch full story, comment below, from which country are you watching? Don't forget to subscribe for more amazing stories. The sky above the Atlantic Ocean stretched endlessly in every direction. Blue water met blue sky at a line so thin it seemed painted by hand. Flight 617 from London to New York cruised smoothly at 30,000 feet. Inside the cabin, passengers settled into their routines. Some slept with their heads resting against the windows. Others watched movies on tiny screens built into the seats in front of them. A few read books or typed on laptops, finishing work emails before landing. Children played quietly with tablets. Flight attendants moved through the aisles offering drinks and snacks. It was a typical transatlantic flight. Routine, ordinary, unremarkable. In row 17, by the window, sat a girl named Maya Chen. She was 17 years old. Her dark hair was pulled back in a simple ponytail. She wore a gray hoodie with a small airplane pin attached to the zipper. Black jeans, white sneakers worn from use. Headphones hung around her neck, connected to her phone. On her lap rested a worn flight manual, not the kind passengers read for safety instructions, the kind pilots study, the kind with technical diagrams, instrument layouts, emergency procedures. Maya looked out the window. The ocean below looked calm, peaceful, endless. Small white caps formed where waves broke. She loved this view. Up here, everything felt different, smaller, simpler. Her problems on the ground seemed far away. School stress, friend drama, college applications, the constant pressure to figure out her future. All of it disappeared when she was in the sky. She was not just any passenger. Maya was a pilot. Well, almost. She had been flying small planes since she was 14. Her grandfather, Captain Richard Chen, had taught her everything. He had flown for the Royal Air Force for 30 years. Fighter jets, transport planes, reconnaissance missions. After retiring with full honors, he became a civilian flight instructor. Maya was his favorite student, his only grandchild, the one who shared his deep love for aviation. Flying is in your blood, he would say with a proud smile, just like it is in mine. Your grandmother always said I loved planes more than people. But then you came along. You understood. Every weekend, they would drive to the small airport outside London, the one with the grass runway and old hangars that smelled like oil and history. Together, they would fly a tiny Cessna 172. The plane was older than Maya, white with blue stripes. The interior was worn, but maintained with care. Her grandfather treated it like family. He taught her how to read instruments, how to control altitude, how to handle turbulence without panicking, how to stay calm when things went wrong, how to trust the plane, how to trust herself. The most important skill, he told her once during a flight, is not fighting the plane. It is listening to it. A plane wants to fly. That is what it was designed to do. Your job is to guide it, not force it. Work with it. She remembered one lesson clearly. They were practicing stall recovery. He made her climb to 5,000 feet, then pull back on the yoke until the plane shuddered and dropped. She panicked, screamed, grabbed the controls too hard. He calmly placed his hands over hers. Breathe, Maya. The plane is talking to you. Feel that vibration? That is the stall warning. Now, what do we do? Push forward, she asked, voice shaking. Exactly. Lower the nose. Add power. Let it fly again. She did. The plane recovered smoothly. Her heart was racing, but she smiled. See? He said, you did not need me. You just needed to listen. Another memory stood out. It was during a difficult crosswind landing. The wind was gusting at 20 knots from the side. Maya was nervous. Her hands gripped the yoke too tightly. Relax your hands, her grandfather said. The plane will tell you what to do. Feel the wind, adjust, dance with it. She loosened her grip, felt the plane drift. She corrected with rudder and aileron. The plane straightened. They touched down smoothly. Perfect, he said with pride. That is the difference between a good pilot and a great one. Great pilots listen. He also taught her about emergencies, engine failures, Electrical problems, navigation system malfunctions. He would simulate failures in the cockpit, covering instruments with paper or pulling circuit breakers. What do you do when your GPS fails? He would ask. Use the compass and visual landmarks, she would answer. What if you lose your engine? Find a field, set up for glide approach, maintain best glide speed. What if both pilots become unconscious on a commercial flight? She paused at that question. That would never happen, Grandpa. He looked at her seriously. It is rare, very rare. But it has happened. Carbon monoxide poisoning, food contamination, medical emergencies. If you are ever in that situation, remember this. The plane wants to fly, the autopilot will keep it stable. Your job is to communicate with air traffic control, follow their instructions, trust your training. Can you do that? I think so. Not think. No. Promise me, Maya, if the world ever needs you to step up, you will not hesitate. I promise. 3 months ago, he passed away. Heart attack, sudden, unexpected, no warning signs. He was in the hangar working on the Cessna's engine when it happened. The mechanic found him lying peacefully beside the plane. The doctors said he did not suffer. He was 72 years old. Maya was devastated. The funeral was small, quiet. Military honors. A folded flag presented to her grandmother. A 3-volley salute. Taps played on a lone bugle. Maya stood in her black dress, tears streaming silently down her face. She did not speak. Could not speak. Her best friend, her mentor, her hero, gone. At the reception afterward, people told her stories about him. Fellow pilots, old Air Force buddies, students he had trained. Your grandfather was the best pilot I ever knew, one man said. He saved my life twice, once in combat, once in training. He never talked about it. That was just who he was. Another woman, a pilot in her 30s, approached Maya. Your grandfather taught me to fly when I was 18. I was terrified. He was patient, kind. He believed in me when no one else did. Now I fly for British Airways. I owe him everything. These stories comforted Maya, but they also deepened her grief. The world had lost someone special. In his will, he left her something precious. His old flight manual, the one he carried during his Air Force years. The pages were yellowed and dog-eared. Notes filled the margins in his precise handwriting. Calculations. Reminders. Tips he had learned over decades of flying. Inside the front cover, he had written a message. The ink was shaky. It must have been recent, near the end. Maya, you are ready. When the world needs you, do not hesitate. Do not doubt. Fly with courage. Fly with purpose. I will always be your co-pilot. Love, Grandpa. She did not understand what he meant at the time, but she kept the manual with her always. In her backpack, in her room, sometimes she would open it and just read his notes. It made her feel close to him, like he was still teaching her, still watching over her, still believing in her. Today, she was flying to New York to visit her cousin Emma. It was her first trip alone since her grandfather died. Her mother had been worried, very worried. She stood with Maya at Heathrow Airport, gripping her hands tightly. Are you sure you want to go by yourself? She had asked for the 10th time that morning. Maya nodded. I will be fine, Mom, I promise. Emma is meeting me at JFK. It is just a flight. Her mother's eyes were wet. I know, I just worry. After losing your father, and then your grandfather, I cannot lose you too. Maya's father had died when she was 10. Car accident. Another driver ran a red light. He died instantly. Her grandfather stepped in to help raise her, taught her everything. Became the father figure she needed. You will not lose me, Maya said firmly. She hugged her mother tight. I will text you the moment I land. Okay, okay. I love you so much. I love you too, Mom. Now, 5 hours into the flight, Maya felt peaceful. The hum of the engines was soothing, like white noise. She traced her fingers over the manual's worn leather cover. Outside, the sun began to set. Orange and pink light filled the cabin. Passengers started closing their window shades, preparing to sleep. Maya kept hers open. She loved watching the sky change colors, watching the light dance on the clouds below. This was her favorite part of flying, the in-between, not on the ground, not yet at the destination, just suspended in the sky, free. She thought about her future. She had been accepted to university to study engineering, but her real dream was to become a pilot, a commercial airline pilot like her grandfather. She wanted to fly people across oceans, to make them feel safe, to share the beauty of the sky with them. But she had doubts. Was she good enough? Smart enough? Strong enough? The aviation industry was competitive, expensive, demanding. Her mother worried about the cost of flight school, about the long hours, about the time away from home. Maybe you should study engineering first, her mother had said. Get a stable job. Then pursue flying as a hobby. But Maya did not want flying to be a hobby. She wanted it to be her life. She opened the flight manual, read one of her grandfather's notes in the margin. Doubt is natural, but do not let it ground you. The sky is waiting. She smiled. Even in death, he was encouraging her. Then something changed. It was subtle at first. The cabin lights flickered, just once. A quick dip in brightness. Most passengers did not notice, but Maya did. Her eyes narrowed. She looked around. Years of training had taught her to notice anomalies, small things, things that did not fit the pattern. A flight attendant near the front galley frowned. She tapped her earpiece, spoke into it quietly, then waited. No response. She tapped it again, spoke louder this time. Still nothing. Her frown deepened. Maya's heart beat a little faster. She sat up straighter. Something was wrong. She could feel it. Not panic, just awareness, like a switch flipping in her mind. The intercom crackled. Static filled the cabin. Then silence. The flight attendant tried again, pressed buttons on the wall panel. Nothing. The intercom was dead. Passengers began to notice now. Murmurs spread through the rows. A man in row 15 looked up from his phone. A woman across the aisle removed her headphones. The mood shifted, just slightly. Like water beginning to ripple, the lead flight attendant, a professional woman in her 40s, walked quickly toward the cockpit. Her face was calm but focused. She knocked on the door once, firmly, waited. No answer. She knocked again, louder this time. 3 sharp raps. Still no answer. Maya's stomach tightened. Her hands gripped the armrests. In all her training, her grandfather had discussed many emergency scenarios. Engine failure, fire, depressurization. But one scenario always stuck with her. What if the pilots are incapacitated? She had asked once. He paused before answering. That is rare, very rare. But it happens. Sometimes both pilots eat the same contaminated food. Sometimes there is a pressurization issue that affects the cockpit first. Sometimes there is a leak, carbon monoxide, chemical fumes. If that happens, the plane can fly itself for a while on autopilot, but eventually someone needs to land it. What do? She asked. They look for anyone with flight experience. A passenger, a pilot traveling off duty, anyone. What if there is no one? He looked at her seriously. Then someone learns very quickly. Or they hope the pilots wake up in time. Now, watching the flight attendant's growing concern, Maya wondered if that scenario was unfolding. The second flight attendant rushed to the back of the plane. She disappeared into a small storage compartment, returned moments later with a small silver box. Emergency access kit. Maya's breath caught. She knew what that meant. The cockpit was locked from the inside, and the pilots were not responding. The attendant used a key card from the kit. She swiped it against a panel beside the cockpit door. A beep, the light turned green. The door unlocked with a soft click. She pushed it open slowly, carefully, as if afraid of what she might find. Then she gasped. Her hand flew to her mouth. Her eyes went wide with shock. "Oh my God," she whispered. From her seat, Maya could not see inside, but she saw the attendant's reaction. Fear, shock, disbelief. The woman's face went pale. She turned back to the cabin. Her voice shook. "Get oxygen. Now. We need oxygen up here immediately." The cabin erupted. Passengers gasped. Some screamed. Others stood up despite being told to remain seated. A baby started crying somewhere behind Maya. The flight attendants tried to calm everyone down, but it was no use. Panic spread like wildfire through dry grass. "What is happening?" a man shouted. "Are we crashing?" A woman cried. "Why are the pilots not answering?" Another voice called out. "Sit down! Everyone please sit down!" the attendant yelled. But her own fear betrayed her. Her voice cracked. Her hands trembled. Maya's training kicked in. Not conscious thought. Pure instinct. She unbuckled her seatbelt and stood. Her legs felt shaky, but she moved forward. She pushed past confused passengers. Some grabbed at her. "Sit down, young lady," an older man said. "You need to stay in your seat." But she ignored them. She kept moving, row by row. toward the front. She reached the front galley. The lead flight attendant, whose name tag read Sarah Mitchell, stood at the cockpit door. Her hands trembled. She was breathing fast, hyperventilating, on the verge of panic. Inside the cockpit, Maya could see both pilots slumped over, unconscious. The captain's head rested against the side window. His right arm hung limply. The first officer's chin touched his chest. His hands were in his lap. Neither moved. The instruments glowed. Screens displayed data. Altitude, speed, heading. But no one was watching them. No one was in control. Are they breathing? Maya asked calmly. Sarah jumped. She turned to Maya. Who are you? Get back to your seat. This is not your concern. My name is Maya Chen. I can fly. I have logged over 200 hours on small aircraft. My grandfather was a commercial pilot and Royal Air Force captain for 30 years. He trained me personally. I can help. Sarah stared at her, really looked at her. A teenage girl, hoodie, jeans, no uniform, no credentials. You are just a kid. I am 17, and right now I am the only person on this plane who knows how to fly. Maya's voice was steady, calm. Confident. She did not feel confident inside. Her heart was pounding so hard she could hear it in her ears. Her hands were sweating. Her stomach was in knots. But she remembered her grandfather's words. In an emergency, the calmest voice wins. People look to you for reassurance, for leadership. Give it to them, even if you are terrified inside. Especially if you are terrified inside. Sarah looked back at the pilots, then at the passengers behind them. Families, children, elderly people, young couples, business travelers, students. 203 souls on board, all depending on these two unconscious pilots. She made a decision. Come with me, now. Maya stepped into the cockpit. The smell hit her first. Metallic, chemical, sharp. Like burning plastic mixed with something sour. Something was wrong with the air. Very wrong. Sarah handed her an oxygen mask from the emergency supply mounted on the wall. Maya put it on immediately, adjusted the straps. The cool flow of oxygen helped. Her head cleared. The chemical smell faded. She looked at the instrument panel. It was overwhelming. Dozens of screens, hundreds of buttons, levers, switches, dials, lights blinking in different colors. Green, amber, white. This was not a Cessna. This was a Boeing 777-300ER, one of the largest passenger jets in the world. Wide body, twin engine, capable of carrying over 350 people. It weighed over 300 tons fully loaded. Her hands started to sweat. Her chest tightened. This was insane. She could not fly this. She was 17. She had never even sat in a commercial cockpit before. She had only flown single-engine propeller planes, small planes, simple planes. This was completely different. But then she focused. She scanned the instruments the way her grandfather taught her. Do not stare at everything. You will get overwhelmed. Look for the important things first. Prioritize altitude, heading, speed, engines, fuel. Everything else is secondary. Autopilot engaged. A small green light glowed beside the letters A/P on the mode control panel. Altitude 30,000 feet. Holding steady. Not climbing. Not descending. Heading 270 degrees west. Correct course toward New York. Speed 490 knots. Normal cruising speed for this aircraft. Fuel good. Plenty remaining. Over 40,000 kilograms split between wing tanks, engines, both running normally. Green indicators across the board. N1 speeds normal. Exhaust gas temperatures normal. Relief washed over her like a wave. The plane was stable. The autopilot was holding it steady. The systems were functioning normally. For now, they were safe. But eventually, they would need to land. And that required manual control. That required a pilot. Maya reached for the radio headset. It was lying on the first officer's lap. She carefully lifted it, trying not to disturb him. His skin was pale, clammy, but his chest rose and fell, shallow breaths. He was alive. She placed the headset on her head, adjusted the microphone near her mouth. Her fingers found the transmit button on the yoke. She took a deep breath, tried to remember the proper emergency call format her grandfather had drilled into her. Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. This is British Airways Flight 617. Both pilots are unconscious. I am a passenger. I have limited flight experience, requesting immediate assistance. She released the button. Static crackled in her ears. Then, nothing. just the hum of engines and wind. She tried again. This time, she adjusted the frequency dial. She remembered the emergency frequency her grandfather had made her memorize, 121.5 megahertz, the International Emergency Channel. Every air traffic control facility monitors it. Mayday, mayday, mayday. This is British Airways Flight 617. Both pilots are incapacitated. I am a passenger with flight training currently in the cockpit. Please respond. Anyone listening, please respond. A voice burst through the static. Male, calm, professional. Flight 617. This is Gander Center, Newfoundland, Canada. We read you loud and clear. Confirm, did you say both pilots are unconscious? Maya exhaled in relief. Someone heard her. Someone was listening. Yes, affirmative. Both pilots are unconscious, unresponsive. I am in the cockpit now. I have flown small aircraft, Cessna 172, about 200 hours logged. I can read instruments. I can follow instructions. Please help us. There was a pause. Maya could almost hear the controller processing this information, a teenage passenger flying a commercial jet. It was unthinkable, unprecedented, impossible, but it was happening. Copy that, Flight 617. Stand by. We are bringing in an emergency team. Do not touch any controls unless we instruct you to do so. Confirm, autopilot is engaged. Green light on. Altitude holding at 30,000 feet, heading 270 degrees. Speed stable at 490 knots. Excellent. Very good. You are doing great. What is your name? Maya. Maya Chen. Okay, Maya. My name is David. David Foster. I am a senior air traffic controller here at Gander Center. I am going to stay with you every single step of the way. We are going to get you and everyone on that plane safely to the ground. Do you understand me? Yes, I understand. Good. First, can you tell me what happened to the pilots? Do you know? Maya looked at them, both still unconscious. Their breathing was shallow but regular. I do not know exactly. The flight attendant said they are breathing, but they will not wake up. The cockpit smells strange, like chemicals, like something is burning. Understood. It might be a pressurization issue or a leak of some kind, possibly carbon monoxide or toxic fumes from a faulty seal. Do you feel dizzy, lightheaded, nauseous? No. I am wearing an oxygen mask right now. Smart thinking. Very smart. Keep it on. Now, I need you to check something for me. Look at the pressurization panel. It should be on the overhead console above your head. Can you see it? Maya looked up. Her eyes scanned the dozens of switches and indicators above her, labels in small white letters. She found a section labeled Cabin Press. The needles showed normal readings. I see it. Cabin altitude shows 8,000 feet. Differential pressure is at 8.1 psi. Both needles are in the green range. Excellent. That rules out rapid decompression. The cabin is holding pressure normally. It might be a localized issue in the cockpit. Possibly carbon monoxide or a chemical leak from faulty ventilation seals. We are working on determining the exact cause. For now, your job is to monitor the instruments. Stay calm and wait for my instructions. Can you do that? Yes, I can do that. Excellent. Help is coming, Maya. You are not alone. We are assembling the best team we have. We have a senior Boeing 777 captain on his way here right now. He is going to help guide you through every step. Stand by for just a moment. The line went quiet, except for faint background chatter. Maya could hear voices in the distance, urgent, coordinating. She sat back in the pilot's seat. It was too big for her. Her feet barely reached the rudder pedals at the base of the yoke. But she adjusted the seat forward, moved it up. Now she could reach everything. Her hands rested on her lap. Her heart pounded in her chest like a war drum. She looked out the windshield. The sun had set now. The sky was darkening. Stars began to appear. Below, the ocean was invisible, just blackness. Infinite blackness. She was flying blind over an ocean at 30,000 feet. 203 people behind her, 2 unconscious pilots beside her, and only her training standing between life and death. She thought about her grandfather. She closed her eyes and imagined him sitting in the seat beside her, the captain's seat, smiling, calm, his weathered hands resting on the yoke, his voice steady and reassuring. You can do this, Maya, she could almost hear him say. Trust yourself. Trust your training. I did not spend all those hours teaching you for nothing. You are ready. You have always been ready. I made sure of that. She opened her eyes, took a deep breath. Okay, Grandpa, she whispered into the oxygen mask. Let's fly. Together. Behind her, Sarah was trying to manage the chaos in the cabin. She moved from row to row, speaking calmly to passengers, reassuring them, answering questions as best she could. But the truth was, she was terrified too. She had been a flight attendant for 18 years. She had dealt with medical emergencies, drunk passengers, severe turbulence, even an engine failure once over the Pacific. But this was beyond anything she had trained for, beyond anything she had imagined. In row 22, an elderly woman named Margaret gripped her rosary beads and prayed silently. Tears streamed down her wrinkled face. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women. In row 8, a young father named Thomas held his 6-year-old daughter Emma tight. She looked up at him with wide, frightened eyes. Are we going to be okay, Daddy? She asked in a small voice. He swallowed hard. Yes, sweetheart, he lied, stroking her hair. Everything is going to be okay. I promise. In row 34, a businessman named Robert typed frantically on his phone. A message to his wife, Sarah, back in London. If anything happens, know that I love you and the kids more than anything in this world. I am sorry I was not home more. Sorry I missed so many dinners, so many bedtimes. Please tell them their daddy loved them. He hit send, then put his face in his hands. In row 17, where Maya had been sitting, a man named James picked up the flight manual she left behind. He opened it curiously, saw the notes in the margins, diagrams, calculations, all written in careful, precise handwriting. He showed it to the woman beside him, a teacher named Linda. This belongs to the girl, he said quietly. The one flying us. Look at this. These are real pilot notes. Tips about handling crosswinds, calculating approach speeds, emergency procedures, stall recovery techniques. All written in detail. She was really trained, Linda whispered, her voice filled with hope. She is not just pretending, she actually knows what she is doing. James nodded. For the first time since the announcement, he felt a small flicker of hope. Maybe they would survive this after all. In the cockpit, Maya continued monitoring the instruments. Everything remained stable. Altitude steady at 30,000 feet. Heading steady at 270 degrees, speed steady at 490 knots. The autopilot was doing its job perfectly. The plane flew smoothly through the darkening sky. The radio crackled. Maya, this is David again. Are you still with me? Yes, I am here. Everything still looks stable. Excellent. Maya, I want to introduce you to someone. This is Captain James Lewis. He is a senior Boeing 777 captain with over 20,000 flight hours on this exact aircraft type. He has flown this plane for 22 years. He is going to help guide you through this step by step. Stand by for Captain Lewis. A new voice came through the headset. Older, steady, confident. The voice of someone who had seen everything. Someone who had handled every emergency imaginable. Maya, this is Captain Lewis. I have been flying 777S since they first came into service. I am going to be your co-pilot from the ground. Before we go any further, I need you to take a deep breath for me. A slow, deep breath. Can you do that? Maya inhaled slowly through the oxygen mask. Held it, exhaled. Okay, good. Now, I want you to know something very important. You are doing absolutely amazing. Better than amazing. Many people would have panicked in your situation, but you stayed calm. You put on oxygen. You contacted us immediately. You checked the instruments. You gave us accurate information. That takes real skill, real courage, real training. Your grandfather taught you well. Do you understand? Yes. Now, tell me, have you ever used a flight simulator, computer-based training, home simulator? Yes. My grandfather had a full flight simulator set up at home. A real cockpit replica with instruments. I have flown simulated Boeing aircraft before. Not this exact model, but 737S and 747S. Similar systems. That is going to help you tremendously. Maya, this jet is not so different from what you have practiced. It is just bigger. The controls are more sensitive, the weight is greater, but the principles are exactly the same. You understand pitch, roll, yaw? Yes. Pull back to pitch up. Push forward to pitch down. Turn the yoke to bank. Rudder pedals for yaw. Excellent. You understand trim? Yes. Trim adjusts the control pressure so you do not have to hold the yoke. Perfect. Now, I need you to do something for me. Look at the autopilot panel. It should be in the center console between the two pilot seats. Do you see a button or switch that says AP or AP? Maya scanned the mode control panel. She found it. A rectangular button with a green light glowing beside the letters A/P. Yes, I see it. Green light is on. Do not press that button. As long as that green light is illuminated, the autopilot is flying the plane. Right now, that is our best friend. The autopilot can hold altitude, heading, and speed indefinitely. As long as we have fuel, we have time. We are not in immediate danger. Understood? Understood. Good. Now we need to start planning for landing. You are currently over the Atlantic Ocean, approximately 600 nautical miles east of Newfoundland, Canada. The nearest suitable airport is Gander International. That is where I am right now. We are going to guide you here. It is about 1 hour away at your current speed. The airport has a very long runway, over 10,000 feet, more than enough for a safe landing. How is your fuel situation? Maya looked at the fuel gauges, two digital displays showing fuel quantity in kilograms. Fuel shows left tank 22,400 kilograms, right tank 21,800 kilograms, total about 44,200 kilograms. Plenty. You could fly for another 4 hours if needed. Fuel is not a concern. Time is not a concern. We have everything we need. Now, here is what is going to happen. We are going to keep you at this altitude and heading for approximately 30 minutes. That gives us time to prepare everything on the ground. We are clearing all other aircraft from your flight path. We are notifying emergency services, fire trucks, ambulances, foam crews. Everything. We are getting runway lights set to maximum brightness. We are doing everything possible to make this as easy as we can for you. When you get closer to Gander, we will begin descent. I will walk you through every single step. You will not do anything without me telling you first. You will not touch anything unless I say so. Clear? Clear. Now, I want you to familiarize yourself with a few key controls. Do not touch them, just look at them, locate them, know where they are. First, find the throttle levers. They should be between the two pilot seats on a center console. Maya looked down. She saw two large black levers with ridged grips for better handling. I see them. Good. Those control engine power. Push forward to increase thrust, pull back to decrease. Very simple. Next, find the speed brake lever. It should be nearby, between the throttles and the flap lever. She scanned the center console. Found a lever with a triangular-shaped handle. Found it. Excellent. The speed brakes are panels on the wings that pop up to increase drag and slow you down quickly when needed. We will use them during descent and after landing. Now, look at the yoke in front of you. The control column. Do you see it? Maya looked at the large black yoke sticking up from the floor between her legs. It had handles on both sides like a steering wheel. A red button on the left handle. Trim switches on the back. Yes, I see it. That controls pitch and roll. Pull back to pitch up and climb. Push forward to pitch down and descend. Turn left or right to bank the aircraft. But remember, you are not touching it yet. The autopilot is handling all of that. You are just observing, learning where everything is. Understood. You are doing wonderfully, Maya. Truly. Now, one more thing. Look at the flap lever. It should be on the center console near the throttles. She found it. A lever with position markers. Numbers from 0 to 30. Found it. Good. Flaps extend sections of the wing to increase lift at slower speeds. We use them for takeoff and landing. You will need to adjust them as we descend. But again, not yet. Just know where it is. Okay, perfect. Now we wait. I want you to use this time to breathe, to calm your mind, to prepare yourself mentally. In about 25 minutes, I will start walking you through the descent procedure. Until then, just monitor the instruments. If anything changes, anything at all, you tell me immediately. Any questions? Maya thought for a moment. What if the pilots wake up? Then we let them take over, and you are a hero. But right now, we plan as if they will not wake up. We prepare for the worst and hope for the best. Any other questions? I am ready, brave girl, incredibly brave. I will check back in a few minutes. You are doing perfectly. Your grandfather would be very proud of you right now. Tears rolled down Maya's cheeks inside the oxygen mask. She wiped them away. Thank you. The line went quiet, except for occasional background chatter. Maya sat back in the seat. She looked at the instruments again. Everything still normal. She looked at the pilots, still unconscious. She wondered if they could hear her, if they knew what was happening. She thought about all the passengers behind her, families, friends, strangers, all depending on her, a 17-year-old girl who had never flown a jet before. It seemed impossible, absurd, but it was real. She looked out the windshield at the stars. They were so bright up here, so clear. She imagined her grandfather sitting beside her, watching, guiding, believing. I will not let you down, she whispered. I promise. Behind her in the cabin, Sarah had managed to calm most of the passengers. She explained the situation as clearly as she could. A passenger with significant flight training was helping. Air traffic control was guiding every step. The plane was stable, but people were still scared, terrified. In row 12, a woman named Jennifer held her newborn baby against her chest. The baby slept peacefully, unaware of the danger. Jennifer kissed her daughter's head and prayed silently. In row 28, two college students named Alex and Sophie held hands. They had met on this trip, spent a week together in London. They were falling in love. Now they might die together. If we make it, Alex said quietly, I am taking you to dinner, the best restaurant in New York. Sophie smiled through tears. Deal. In row 5, a doctor named Michael stood up. He approached Sarah. I am a physician. If the pilots need medical attention, I can help. Sarah nodded gratefully. Thank you. Come with me. She led him to the cockpit. Maya glanced back as they entered. Are you a doctor? Neurologist? Can I examine them? Please. Dr. Michael checked both pilots. Pulse, breathing, pupils. He smelled the chemical odor even through his surgical mask. Definitely some kind of toxic exposure. Likely carbon monoxide or chemical fumes. Their vitals are stable, but they need hospital care immediately upon landing. How long until we land? About 50 minutes, Maya said. They should be okay until then. But they need oxygen and monitoring. He placed oxygen masks on both pilots, adjusted the flow. Then he looked at Maya, really looked at her, a teenage girl sitting in the captain's seat of a massive jet. You are very brave, he said softly. I am terrified, she admitted. Bravery is not the absence of fear. It is action in spite of fear. You are doing amazing. Thank you. He left. Maya was alone again with the instruments and her thoughts. The radio crackled. Maya, this is Captain Lewis. How are you holding up? I am okay. A doctor just examined the pilots. He says they should be stable until we land. Good news. Now, we are about 20 minutes from beginning descent. I want to prepare you mentally for what is about to happen. Are you ready to listen carefully? Yes. Landing a 777 is actually easier than you might think. The aircraft is designed to be stable. It wants to land smoothly. It wants to cooperate with you. Your job is simply to guide it. Think of yourself as a conductor of an orchestra. The plane is the orchestra. You are not doing all the work yourself. You are just directing. Does that make sense? Yes. Good. Now, we are going to break this down into phases. Phase 1 is descent. We will gradually reduce altitude from 30,000 feet down to about 3,000 feet. The autopilot can handle most of this. You will just adjust settings as I tell you. Nothing complicated. Phase 2 is approach. This is where we line up with the runway. Again, autopilot can help with most of it. But you will need to monitor closely and make small corrections. Phase 3 is final approach and landing. This is the only part where you will hand fly the aircraft, meaning you will take manual control. But I will talk you through every single second, every input, every adjustment. Understand? Maya's stomach tightened into a knot. You want me to land it manually, without autopilot? Only the last few minutes. Here is the truth, Maya. The autopilot can bring you very close to the runway. It can line you up perfectly, but it cannot land the plane for you. That requires human input. Small adjustments, feel, timing, that is something only a pilot can do. But you have done this before, just on a smaller plane. The principles are exactly the same. I have never landed anything bigger than a Cessna. This thing weighs 300 tons. The weight does not matter. Physics is physics. You pull back on the yoke to flare. You let the wheels touch down gently. You apply brakes. It is muscle memory for you. You have done it hundreds of times, just on a smaller scale. Trust that muscle memory. Maya swallowed hard. Her mouth was dry. Okay, I will try. Not try. You will do it. I believe in you, Maya. Your grandfather believed in you. Now you need to believe in yourself. Can you do that? She thought about all the landings she had practiced, all the hours in the simulator, all the lessons, all the encouragement, her grandfather's voice echoing in her mind. You are ready. I can do that. That is my girl. All right, we are 10 minutes from starting descent. Use this time to prepare yourself mentally. Breathe deeply, relax your shoulders, shake out your hands. When we start, I need you to be loose. Tension is your enemy, calm is your friend. Understood? Understood. Perfect. I will be back in 9 minutes. Stay calm. The line went quiet. Maya did as he said. She rolled her shoulders back, stretched her neck, shook out her hands, took slow, deliberate breaths, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Her heart rate slowed slightly. She glanced at the pilots again. Still unconscious, still breathing steadily. The oxygen seemed to be helping. Their color looked slightly better. She wondered what had caused this. A faulty seal, leaking carbon monoxide into the cockpit ventilation system? A chemical spill in a cargo hold? Whatever it was, it had happened fast. No warning, no time for the pilots to react. She looked at the fuel gauges again. Still plenty. She checked the engine instruments. Both engines running perfectly. Temperature normal, pressure normal, everything was functioning as it should. Outside, the stars glittered like diamonds on black velvet. The moon had risen now, a thin crescent hanging low on the horizon. Beautiful, peaceful. It seemed surreal that such beauty existed while 203 people faced potential death below. Sarah appeared at the cockpit door again. "How are you doing?" Maya looked at her, scared, but ready. "We start descent in about 8 minutes. You are the bravest person I have ever met. Everyone back there is praying for you." "I need all the prayers I can get," Sarah smiled. "You have got this. I know you do." She left. Maya was alone with her thoughts again. She thought about her mother. She would be devastated if anything happened. She had already lost so much. Her husband, her father. She could not lose her daughter too. Maya pulled out her phone. No signal over the ocean. But she typed a message anyway. Saved it as a draft. "Mom, if you are reading this, it means something went wrong. I want you to know that I love you more than anything. You are the strongest person I know. You raised me to be brave, to be capable, to never give up. I tried my best. I used everything Grandpa taught me. I did not hesitate. I stepped up when the world needed me, just like he said I should. I love you, always, Maya." She saved it, put the phone away, wiped tears from her eyes. Then the radio crackled. "Maya, this is Captain Lewis. It is time we are going to begin descent now. Are you ready?" Maya took one final deep breath, looked at the instruments, looked at the stars, looked at her grandfather's manual sitting on the empty seat beside her. "I am ready." "Good. Let's bring this plane home." "First step," Captain Lewis said, his voice calm and measured. "We are going to adjust the autopilot to begin descending. I need you to find the altitude selector. It is a dial or knob on the mode control panel, usually near the autopilot engagement button. It should currently display 30,000. Do you see it? Maya scanned the panel carefully. Her eyes moved methodically across the instruments. Found digital display with a rotating knob below it. The numbers read 30000 in bright white digits. Yes, I see it. Digital display showing 30,000. Perfect. Now, I want you to rotate that knob counterclockwise. Turn it to the left. Watch the numbers decrease as you turn. I want you to set it to 10,000 feet. Turn slowly. Do not rush. Maya reached out with her right hand. Her fingers trembled slightly as she gripped the knob. She began turning it slowly. The numbers scrolled down on the display. 29000, 28000, 27000. She kept turning steadily. 25000, 2000, 15000. She slowed as she approached the target. 12000, 11000. She stopped. Set to 10,000 feet, she reported. Excellent work. Now, watch the vertical speed indicator. It is a round gauge that shows your rate of climb or descent. The needle should start moving downward, showing a negative number. Tell me what you see. Maya located the vertical speed indicator. The needle was moving, slowly at first, then settling, descending at 1,800 feet per minute. That is a gentle, comfortable descent rate. The autopilot is now bringing you down gradually. This will take approximately 11 minutes to reach 10,000 feet. During this time, you do not need to touch anything. Just monitor the instruments. Make sure the descent rate stays between 1,500 and 2,000 feet per minute. If it goes outside that range, tell me immediately. Understood. Monitor descent rate. Report if it goes outside 1,500 to 2,000. Good. You are doing fantastic, Maya. Just breathe. Stay calm. How are the pilots doing? Maya glanced at them. Still unconscious, but breathing steadily. The doctor put oxygen masks on them. Good. Help should be there soon after landing. Now, while we descend, I want to explain what is going to happen next. When we reach 10,000 feet, we will level off briefly, then we will slow down the aircraft, we will extend the flaps gradually. We will lower the landing gear. All of these things help slow the plane and prepare it for landing. I will guide you through each step. Nothing happens without my instruction. Clear? Clear. Excellent. Now just relax and monitor. I will check back in a few minutes. The plane began its descent smoothly. Maya felt a slight change in pressure in her ears. She swallowed to equalize them. The same sensation she felt in the Cessna when descending. Outside the windshield, the stars seemed brighter now, the darkness deeper. Below, somewhere in that blackness, was the Atlantic Ocean. Cold, unforgiving. She watched the altimeter tick down steadily. 28,000, 27,000, 26,000. Each 1,000 feet brought them closer to the ground, closer to safety. Or disaster. She thought about the landing. The moment when she would take manual control, when the autopilot would disengage and the weight of the aircraft would transfer to her hands. Could she really do it? Could a 17-year-old girl land a 300-ton jet? Her grandfather's voice echoed in her mind, a memory from one of their last flights together. Maya, do you know what separates good pilots from great pilots? He had asked. Skill, she guessed. No, confidence. A good pilot has skill, but a great pilot has confidence in that skill. Confidence is not arrogance. It is trust. Trust in your training, trust in your preparation, trust in yourself. When the moment comes, you will know what to do because I taught you. And I taught you well. She had nodded then, not fully understanding. But now, sitting in this cockpit with 203 lives depending on her, she understood completely. Behind her, in the cabin, the mood had shifted. The initial panic had faded into a tense, anxious silence. People sat quietly, some prayed, others held hands with loved ones. A few stared out the windows at the darkness. In row 19, a priest named Father Michael stood and spoke to the passengers around him. I know we are all frightened, but I believe that girl up there was put on this plane for a reason. God does not make mistakes. She was meant to be here, meant to save us. Have faith. Some passengers nodded, others looked skeptical, but his words brought comfort to many. In row 7, a young woman named Rachel recorded a video message on her phone. Mom, Dad, if you are watching this, I want you to know I love you. I am on a plane where both pilots collapsed. A teenage girl is flying us. I know that sounds crazy, but she seems to know what she is doing. If something happens, please know I was not scared. Well, I was, but I was also grateful. Grateful for the life you gave me, for all the love, all the memories. I love you both so much. She saved the video, put the phone away, then bowed her head and prayed. In the cockpit, the radio crackled. Maya, this is David from Gander Center. I want to give you an update on what is happening on the ground. We have assembled the largest emergency response in our airport's history. 16 fire trucks, 8 ambulances, 2 foam trucks. Every emergency vehicle in the region is here. We have medical teams standing by. We have cleared the entire airport. No other aircraft within 50 miles. You have our complete attention and resources. The runway lights are set to maximum intensity. You will be able to see them from miles away. We are doing everything possible to help you. Thank you. That helps. We also have media gathered, news helicopters, camera crews, reporters from around the world. Your story is already making international headlines. But do not worry about that now. Focus only on flying. The world can wait. Maya had not even thought about media, about the world watching. It seemed surreal, unimportant compared to the task ahead. Passing through 20,000 feet, she reported, checking the altimeter. Copy that. You are doing great. How are you feeling? But focused. That is exactly the right attitude. Captain Lewis will be back with you shortly. Maya continued monitoring the instruments. Everything remained stable. The autopilot was performing perfectly, descent rate steady at 1,800 feet per minute, heading holding at 270 degrees, speed maintaining at 490 knots. She looked out at the horizon. Was that a faint glow, the first hint of land ahead, or just her imagination? At 15,000 feet, Captain Lewis returned. Maya, you are doing wonderfully. We are almost at 10,000 feet. When we get there, the autopilot will level off automatically because that is what you programmed it to do. When you see the altitude hold at 10,000, I want you to acknowledge it. Then we will begin the next phase. Ready? Ready. Good. Also, I want you to start thinking about slowing down. We are currently at 490 knots. That is too fast for landing configuration. We need to slow to about 250 knots before we can extend flaps. So when we level at 10,000, we will reduce the speed. I will guide you. Understood. Maya watched the altimeter. 12,000, 11,000, 10,500. The descent rate began to decrease. 10,200, 10,100. The vertical speed indicator moved toward zero. The plane leveled smoothly at exactly 10,000 feet. Level at 10,000 feet, Maya reported. Perfect. Now, find the speed selector on the mode control panel. It should display 490 knots currently. Do you see it? She found it. Another rotating knob with a digital display. Yes. Shows 490. Rotate it counterclockwise. Set it to 250 knots. Maya turned the knob. The numbers decreased. 450, 400, 350, 300, 250. She stopped. Speed set to 250 knots. Good. Now watch what happens. The autopilot will start to slow the aircraft. You will feel the nose pitch up slightly as the plane slows down. This is normal. The autopilot is trading speed for altitude, then adjusting. Do not be alarmed. She felt it. The nose lifted slightly. The engine's sound changed. Quieter. The airspeed indicator began dropping. 470, 450, 420. I feel it. Nose pitched up. Speed decreasing. Perfect. This will take a few minutes. The plane is slowing gradually. While we wait, I want to prepare you for extending the flaps. Flaps are sections of the wing that extend backward and downward. They increase the wing area and allow the plane to fly slower without stalling. We extend them in stages. First to position 1, then 5, then 10, 15, 20, and finally 30 for landing. Each position slows the plane more and increases lift. Make sense? Yes. Incremental flap extension increases lift and drag. Exactly. You clearly know your aerodynamics. Your grandfather taught you well. Now, when the speed reaches 270 knots, I am going to have you extend flaps to position 1. The flap lever should have detents or notches for each position. You move it down one notch at a time. Do not move it quickly or skip positions. Slow and steady. Understood? Slow and steady. One position at a time. Maya watched the airspeed indicator. 380. 350. 320. The plane was slowing steadily. Outside, she could definitely see a glow on the horizon now. The lights of Newfoundland. Land, civilization, safety. The speed reached 270 knots. Speed at 270, she reported. Excellent. Extend flaps to position 1. Maya reached for the flap lever with her right hand. She gripped it firmly, moved it down one notch, felt it click into position. Immediately, she heard a mechanical whirring sound, the sound of hydraulic motors moving the massive flap panels. The plane shuddered slightly. A vibration through the airframe. Flaps moving to position 1, she said, watching the flap position indicator change on the screen. Good. You should feel the plane slow down a bit more. That is the increased drag from the flaps. Completely normal. She felt it. The airspeed indicator dropped faster now. 265. 260. 255. We are now 12 miles from Gander Airport, Captain Lewis said. I can see you on radar. You are perfectly aligned with the runway. Looking beautiful. Now, we are going to make another descent. I want you to adjust the altitude selector from 10,000 down to 3,000 feet. Maya turned the altitude knob. Set it to 3,000. The plane began descending again. This time at 1,500 feet per minute. Descending to 3,000 feet at 1,500 feet per minute, she reported. Perfect. Now, as we descend, we will continue slowing and extending more flaps. When speed reaches 230 knots, extend flaps to position 5. Maya watched the airspeed. Waited. 240, 235, 230, speed 230, extending flaps to 5. She moved the lever down another notch. More mechanical sounds. More vibration. The plane slowed further. Flaps 5 set, she confirmed. Excellent. You are a natural at this, Maya. How are you feeling? Focused, nervous. But okay. That is perfect. Nervous is good. It means you respect the situation, but you are staying calm. That is the mark of a great pilot. The plane descended through the darkness. 8,000 feet, 7,000. 6,000. The lights of Gander were visible now. A small city on the coast. The airport clearly visible. Runway lights blazing like a bright white path. I can see the airport, Maya said, her voice filled with hope. That is runway 13, your runway. It is 10,500 feet long and 200 feet wide. You could land 3 planes side by side on it. Plenty of room for error. When speed reaches 210 knots, extend flaps to 10. She waited, watched. 215, 210, speed 210, flaps 10. More sounds, more slowing. At 5,000 feet, extend flaps to 15. The altimeter ticked down. 5,500, 5,200. Flaps 15. She moved the lever. The plane felt heavy now. Slower, more stable. You are doing perfectly, Maya. At 3,000 feet, we are going to level off one more time. Then we will prepare for final approach. That is when we lower the landing gear and extend full flaps. Then I will guide you through disengaging the autopilot and hand flying the final approach and landing. Are you ready for that? No, she was not ready, but she had no choice. Yes, I am ready. The plane leveled at 3,000 feet. They were now just 8 miles from the runway. Less than 4 minutes to landing. Okay, Maya, this is it. Reduce speed to 180 knots. She adjusted the speed selector. The plane slowed. Speed set to 180. Extend flaps to 20. She moved the lever. Click. Flaps 20. Now, this is important. I need you to lower the landing gear. Find the landing gear lever. It should be a large lever near the center console with a wheel-shaped handle. It will be in the UP position. You need to move it to the down position. Do you see it? Maya searched. Found it. A substantial lever with a small wheel symbol on top. Currently pointing up. I see it. Currently in the up position. Pull it straight down. You will hear loud mechanical sounds. That is normal. The gear doors opening and the wheels extending. You will also feel vibration. Do not be alarmed. Watch for 3 green lights on the instrument panel. Those indicate the nose gear and both main gears are down and locked. Understood. Pull down, listen for sounds. Watch for 3 green lights. Maya gripped the lever with both hands, pulled it down firmly. Immediately, loud mechanical sounds filled the cockpit. Thump, thump, thump. The plane vibrated. She felt the weight shift slightly as the heavy landing gear dropped into the airstream. Then, 3 green lights appeared on the panel. Nose gear, left main gear, right main gear. All green. Gear down and locked. 3 green lights, Maya said, relief in her voice. Beautiful. You are doing amazing. Now, extend flaps to 30. Full flaps for landing. She moved the lever to the final position. The plane slowed dramatically, speed dropping to 160 knots. Flaps 30. Full flaps extended. Perfect. You are now in full landing configuration. Gear down. Flaps 30. Speed 160 knots. You are 5 miles from the runway. Altitude 3,000 feet. This is it, Maya. In 1 minute, I am going to have you disengage the autopilot. You will take manual control. I will guide you every second, every foot, every inch. You are going to land this plane. Do you understand? Tears streamed down Maya's face. Her hands shook. I understand. Place your hands on the yoke, feet on the rudder pedals. Feel the plane. Get comfortable with the controls. Maya placed her hands on the yoke, gripped the handles firmly. Her feet touched the rudder pedals at the base. She could feel the autopilot making tiny adjustments, tiny movements of the yoke. Left, right, up, down, keeping them perfectly aligned with the runway. I have the controls. I can feel it. Good. Now, when I say disengage, you will press the autopilot disconnect button. It is the red button on the left side of the yoke, where your thumb is. When you press it, you will feel the weight transfer to you immediately. The yoke will become heavier. The plane will be in your hands. You must hold it steady. Make small corrections, small movements. Understand, small movements. Hold steady. I understand. You have trained for this. Your muscles know what to do. Trust them. Trust yourself. Ready? Maya's heart hammered in her chest. This was it, the moment everything had been building toward. She looked at the runway ahead, the lights glowing, calling her home. I am ready. 3, 2, 1. Disengage autopilot now. Maya pressed the red button with her thumb. Immediately, the weight transferred. The yoke became heavy in her hands. The plane dipped slightly to the left. Her stomach lurched. Steady, Maya. Small correction to the right. Gently turn the yoke. She turned the yoke right. Too much. The plane banked sharply. Alarms beeped. Warning lights flashed. Too much! Back to the left. Small movements. Think of it like steering a car. She corrected. Turned left. The plane wobbled, rocked back and forth. Her breathing was rapid. Panicked. Breathe, Maya. Slow breaths. You have got this. Feel the plane. Work with it. She closed her eyes for just 1 second. Took a deep breath. Remembered her grandfather's voice. Listen to the plane. It wants to fly. Let it. She opened her eyes, made tiny adjustments. Left, right, center. The plane leveled. The alarm stopped. The wobbling ceased. Good. That is it. You have got it. Now hold that. Nice and steady. Her hands were shaking. Sweat poured down her face, but she held the yoke steady. The plane flew straight. Perfect, Maya. You are flying a 777. Now, I need you to descend, push the yoke forward very gently. Just a tiny amount. Watch the vertical speed indicator. I want to see 500 feet per minute descent. She pushed forward. Gently, the nose dipped. The altimeter started ticking down. Too much. 800 feet per minute. Pull back slightly. She pulled. The descent rate decreased. Good. Right there. 500 feet per minute. Perfect. She held it. The plane descended smoothly now. 2,500 feet. 2,000 feet. You are 3 miles from the runway. Looking perfect. You are on the glide slope. That means you are descending at exactly the right angle. Keep doing exactly what you are doing. Maya's arms ached from holding the yoke, but she did not dare let go. The runway was clearly visible now, the white center line, the approach lights leading up to it. Emergency vehicles lined both sides, red and blue lights flashing. Reduce throttle slightly, pull back the throttle levers just a little. We need to slow to 150 knots. She took her right hand off the yoke, reached for the throttles, pulled them back gently. The engines quieted, the plane slowed. Good. Speed 155. Almost there. Put your hand back on the yoke. She gripped the yoke with both hands again. 2 miles. Altitude 1,500 feet. You are doing perfectly. When we get to 1,000 feet, I will start counting down. At 50 feet, I will tell you to flare. That means pull back gently on the yoke to lift the nose. The main wheels will touch first, then ease the nose down, just like you have done in the Cessna. Exactly the same. Got it? Got it. Flare at 50 feet. Main wheels first. 1 mile, 1,000 feet. Here we go, Maya. This is it. The runway filled her entire vision, growing larger, closer, the lights rushing toward her. 800 feet, looking good. She could see individual runway markings now. The numbers. 13, 600 feet, steady. Her hands ached. Her shoulders screamed. But she held firm. 400 feet. You are doing it, Maya. You are really doing it. The ground rushed up, fast, so fast. 200 feet. Get ready. She could see the emergency vehicles clearly now. People standing, watching, waiting. 100 feet, almost there. The runway lights blurred past on both sides. 50 feet, flare now, pull back gently. Maya pulled the yoke back, smoothly, steadily. The nose lifted. For a moment, the plane seemed to float, suspended between sky and earth. Then, a hard thud. The main wheels slammed into the concrete runway. The impact jolted through the entire aircraft. Maya gasped. The plane bounced, lifted off the runway. Hold it. Keep the nose up. Let it settle. She held the yoke back. The plane bounced again. Smaller this time. Then the wheels gripped. Held. The nose gear was still in the air. Ease forward. Let the nose come down. She pushed forward gently. The nose gear dropped. Contact. Thud. They were down. All three wheels on the ground. Brakes. Press the brake pedals at the top of the rudder pedals. Maya pressed her feet forward on the top portion of the pedals. She felt resistance. The plane shuddered, began to slow. But they were still going very fast. The runway disappeared beneath them at terrifying speed. More brakes. Press harder. You have plenty of runway. She pressed harder. The brakes grabbed. The plane decelerated rapidly. The end of the runway approached. Spoilers! Pull back the speed brake lever. She reached for it, pulled it back. Panels on the wings popped up. The plane slowed even faster now. Slower, slower. The end of the runway came closer. 1,000 feet remaining, 800, 600. Finally, the plane rolled to a complete stop. 400 feet from the end of the runway. Silence. Then, Captain Lewis's voice, thick with emotion, barely able to speak. Maya Chen, you just landed a Boeing 777. You saved 203 lives. Welcome to Gander. Welcome home. Maya could not speak, could not move, could not breathe. She stared straight ahead, her hands still gripping the yoke in a death grip, her whole body shaking violently. Behind her, the cabin absolutely exploded. Cheers, screams, applause, crying, sobbing. People jumped out of their seats, hugged strangers, fell to their knees, raised their hands to the sky. She did it. She saved us. Thank God, thank God. That girl is a miracle. Sarah burst into the cockpit. She grabbed Maya and pulled her into a crushing hug. You did it. You incredible, amazing, brave girl. You did it. Maya finally released the yoke. Her hands fell to her lap. She looked at them. They were shaking so badly she could not control them. I landed, she whispered, her voice hoarse. I actually landed it. She looked out the windshield. Emergency vehicles were racing toward the plane. Fire trucks, ambulances, police cars, all converging on them. Tears streamed down her face. Not tears of fear anymore. Tears of relief, of joy, of disbelief. She had done it, against all odds, despite all fear, despite having never flown a jet before. She had brought them home. All 203 passengers. Safe. She looked at the unconscious pilots. They were starting to stir. The captain's eyes fluttered open. He looked around, confused. What happened? He mumbled through the oxygen mask. You were unconscious, Maya said softly. I landed the plane. He looked at her, really looked at her. A teenage girl sitting in his seat. Then at the instruments. Then out at the emergency vehicles. You landed? Yes, sir. His eyes filled with tears. Thank you. Thank you so much. Emergency crews reached the plane. Medics rushed aboard. They carefully moved both pilots onto stretchers, started IV lines. Both were stable. Conscious now, they would recover fully. Maya was helped from the cockpit. She could barely stand. Her legs were jelly. Paramedics wrapped her in a blanket, checked her blood pressure, her pulse. You are in shock. That is normal. Just breathe slowly. She was led down the aircraft stairs. The moment her feet touched the ground, she collapsed, not from injury, just from pure exhaustion. Relief, the weight of what she had done finally hitting her. Paramedics caught her, helped her to a waiting ambulance. But before they could put her inside, Captain Lewis appeared. He had driven from the control tower. He walked straight to Maya, looked at her with tears in his eyes. Then he saluted her, a crisp, formal military salute. Captain Chen, he said, his voice cracking with emotion. It has been an honor flying with you. Maya shook her head weakly. I am not a captain. I am just a student. You are a pilot, a real pilot. You earned that title today. Camera flashes exploded around them. Reporters shouted questions, but police kept them back. Maya was taken to the hospital for observation. Nothing was wrong with her physically, just exhaustion, stress, shock. They kept her overnight to be safe. Her mother arrived on the first flight from London. She rushed into the hospital room and grabbed Maya, held her, sobbed uncontrollably. My baby, my brave, incredible baby, I thought I lost you. I am okay, Mom. I am safe. They held each other for a long time. No words, just love, just relief, just gratitude. The news spread around the world. Within hours, every television station, every newspaper, every website. 17-year-old girl lands commercial jet after pilots collapse. Teenage hero saves 203 passengers. Miracle over the Atlantic. Girl pilot becomes youngest person to land Boeing 777. Maya's face was everywhere. Her name trended worldwide. Maya Chen. Hero of Flight 617. Miracle Girl. Social media exploded with support. Messages from around the world. But Maya did not see any of it. She was sleeping. Deeply. Peacefully. For the first time in months. When she woke the next morning, there were flowers everywhere. Cards, letters, gifts. From passengers, from strangers, from world leaders. The Prime Minister called personally. You have made Britain proud. You are a hero. The Queen sent a personal message, an invitation to Buckingham Palace. Airlines from around the world offered her full scholarships to their training programs. But Maya did not care about fame. She cared about one thing. She had honored her grandfather's legacy. She had done what he trained her to do. She had not hesitated when the world needed her. She asked for her backpack, found her grandfather's flight manual, opened it to the message inside. When the world needs you, do not hesitate. Fly. She had flown, and she had saved 203 lives. The next day, a special visitor came to see her. Captain Harper, the pilot who had been unconscious, he was recovering well. He walked into her hospital room with tears in his eyes. I do not know how to thank you, he said. You saved my life. You saved my co-pilot. You saved every person on that plane. You are the most remarkable person I have ever met. Maya smiled. I just did what my grandfather taught me. Your grandfather must have been an extraordinary man. He was. Captain Harper reached into his jacket, pulled out a small box. I want to give you something. These are my captain's wings. I have worn them for 20 years. I want you to have them. You earned them more than anyone I know. Maya took the box, opened it. Inside were golden pilot wings. Beautiful. Gleaming. I cannot accept these, she said. You must. You are a pilot now. A real pilot. Wear them with pride. She pinned them to her shirt. They felt right, like they belonged there. Over the next weeks, Maya's life became a whirlwind. Interviews on every major television show, features in magazines, a book deal worth millions. A movie studio bought the rights to her story. But through it all, she stayed humble, grounded. Every interview, she talked about her grandfather, about his training, his wisdom, his belief in her. He prepared me for this, she said on Good Morning America. He taught me that aviation is not just about controlling a plane. It is about controlling yourself, your fear, your doubt. If you can do that, you can do anything. That clip went viral, shared millions of times. Schools played it in classrooms. Flight schools used it in training. Maya became a symbol, an inspiration, proof that age does not define ability, that courage can come from anywhere, that preparation meets opportunity. Applications to flight schools around the world surged, especially from young women. Girls who saw themselves in Maya, who realized they could fly too. 6 months later, Maya received a letter, an acceptance letter from the Royal Air Force Academy. Full scholarship, the youngest applicant in the Academy's history. She accepted immediately. Her mother drove her to the Academy on enrollment day. They sat in the car outside the gates. Neither spoke for a moment. Your grandfather would be so proud, her mother finally said. I know, Maya whispered. I can feel him every day, watching, smiling. Are you ready for this? Maya looked at the academy, the gates, the buildings. The aircraft on the tarmac, cadets in crisp uniforms marching in formation. She thought about her grandfather, about Flight 617, about the 203 people she saved, about the journey that brought her here. Yes, she said firmly, I am ready. She stepped out of the car, put on her new cadet uniform, pinned her grandfather's old pilot wings to her chest, added Captain Harper's wings beside them. She walked through the gates, toward her future, toward the sky. Other cadets stared at her, whispered. Everyone knew who she was. The girl who landed Flight 617. But Maya did not care about the attention. She cared about learning, about becoming the best pilot she could be, about honoring the legacy her grandfather left her. That evening, she stood on the academy grounds, looked up at the sky. Stars were appearing, the same stars she saw from 30,000 feet that terrifying night. She pulled out her phone, opened her photos, found her favorite picture of her grandfather, him smiling in front of the Cessna, his arm around her shoulders, both of them happy, both of them home in the sky. I did it, Grandpa, she whispered. I flew, just like you taught me, and I did not hesitate. The wind blew gently, rustling the trees. For just a moment, she could have sworn she heard his voice on the wind. I know, Maya. I was there with you. Every second, every moment. I am so proud of you. Now go. Fly. The sky is waiting. She smiled, wiped her tears, put the phone away. Then she turned and walked toward the training buildings, toward classrooms where she would learn advanced aerodynamics, toward simulators where she would master every aircraft, toward a future in the sky. Maya Chen was 17 years old. She had landed a Boeing 777, saved 203 lives, become a hero to millions. But to her, she was just a granddaughter honoring her grandfather's legacy, just a girl who loved to fly. And she was just getting started.